Awesome. Right. So the first call for the day, the first way marker for the morning is just to refresh ourselves on what we talked about in the keynotes. Now, I know you guys, I think everybody who's on the call was at the keynotes. So you're aware of, you've got some background in personalized health and how our programs utilize the science that drives it to really give you guys a personalized experience and make sure that your well-being is being managed completely bespokely, if you will. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a refresh on that information. And then we will go into the measures of medical. Now, time to share some screens. Okay. Check. Cool. Right. Hopefully everyone can see that. So this is us, Christchurch Wellness Group, myself and Nathan. What we're going to talk, oh, there's a big leap. There's a big leap. We've jumped straight from a welcome slide into embryological development. Now, obviously, you guys have got a bit of a pre-frame on this, and you do work in health, so we know you've got a little bit of background, a little bit informed on this stuff anyway. But I'm just going to refresh. Now, what we talked about in the keynote was that essentially, during conception, can someone mute anyone if they chat, please, from the coaching team? During conception, a choice is made on which of these layers, or a combination of two, will give the individual the best survivability in the environment experienced by mum and dad. Very complex stuff. But ultimately, what that sets is a biasing in terms of hormonal expression, organ development, size and shape, behavioral influence, character, if you will, that's going to hold fast throughout your life. So this is essentially what our platform measures. It measures that expression over time. Let's unpack this a little further. So I didn't show you this picture in the keynote, but it's quite a nice little example of how this plays out in terms of in utero. So here you can see what we're looking at with this picture is certain genes will switch on at certain points and they will repress or promote the activity of the genetics or the genes that relate to the different layers. So we talked about the mesoderm, the ectoderm, and the endoderm. This cascade of events will determine which of those layers gets the most resources throughout the 9 months. And then that sets up this precedent and then is bias that's going to bias your development over your lifespan. So that those embryonic layers we talked about, we got the ectoderm, which if you remember was spinal tissue, the brain and the skin. It's all about sensory and data processing. So it's the ability to pull information from the environment, a lot of it, and let that inform you on decision making in a way that's going to make you essentially more survivable. But it's about data processing, very cerebral, very focused on the mind, these guys. Then we got the movement guys, the mesomorphs, the mesodermic layer. You may recall that is me, somebody who's concerned with movement and driven by the adrenals and testosterone. So it's all about taking action, being physically active to really make this body feel safe. Then we've got the endomorphs or the endodermic layer. These guys, it's all about size and strength and taking load for the tribe, if you recall. So these guys have highly developed gastrointestinal tracts. Their metabolic organs are very developed as well. And the lungs, all of the stuff that's concerned with getting bigger and stronger, essentially. Cool. So that's a very quick précis on what we talked about in the keynote. We'll go a little further. So just to reiterate, embryonic development influences organ development. That will obviously naturally influence shape and size and even the accrual of muscle, bone, and adipose tissue. From that, if you recall, we also can derive a chronotype. So we're on a sliding scale, essentially, of early bird or night owl, and this interacts with everything that can affect your wellness. So every lifestyle factor has its place in time for the individual. And if we can really nail that, it can make a huge difference to our wellness picture over time. Then we've got this metabolic and mental development, and this will obviously relate to behavioral influence. So cognition, mental strengths with regard to genius, your natural cerebral talents. What data you actually value will be driven by these layers. And what motivates you? So what data you value, or where your brain spends most of its time thinking, let's say the occipital lobe. If you're someone who thinks in the occipital lobe, you're concerned with imagery. What does this mean for someone when it comes to motivation? It means they might be actually motivated genuinely by their image. Really important. What if we've got someone who's very prefrontal, very logical, rational, linear in their thinking? Their motivation is probably going to come from data and information. So we provide that to them as they are coached and throughout this experience. So it's really, really great information on how we support you. But essentially, it all derives from this embryonic development and that biasing that happens throughout our life cycle. Good stuff. Right. Just a little bit on one type, just to remind you, so that we've always got dominant hormones, or other hormones that we have a sensitivity to. So in the activator's case, it's adrenals and testosterone, as mentioned, which can be correlated with impulsiveness, motivation, aggression, these kind of behaviors. And then testosterone, again, is the same, makes people competitive and they like challenges, and will also drive the size and shape because it stunts growth of the femur. And we talked last time, if you remember, we looked at the fingers on both hands. We said how the 4 and 2 digit ratio tells us something about testosterone during adolescent development and in utero development. And then the competitive, direct, expressive. As you can tell, I'm quite expressive. And they think in theta wave, just a little extra nugget there. But all of this stuff is great. But what are we here to do today? Today, we are here to measure, yes, your embryonic development, but not just that alone. We want to look at your genotype, which was pretty hard set. But within the genotype, there is an area that provides a range of possible expression, potentials, if you will. And this interacts with the environment and is called epigenetics. You may be aware of epigenetics. This is the potential for variation within our gene and gene expression. This leads to a phenotype, who you are right now. Let's go to the next slide and just show you another, a little different explanation of this. So we've got the same guy here who essentially has got a very different environment. One on the left is into sport, he's eating a very balanced diet, strong healthcare regime, gets good sleep, low stress, surrounded by people that make him feel great. And the other guy on the right, not so much, too much stress, maybe some fast food, too much drinking because of the stress, bad sleep as a result, no REM when you drink. Did you know that? So this kind of, this is the same person expressing very differently. And you can see this even in twins who've got completely different body shapes and different health levels and different expression. So this is what phenotype is all about. Our test today is a phenotype test. We're going to measure the expression of disease factors and really assess the risks for you as an individual. And we're going to look at that embryonic development simultaneously. And as a result, we're going to understand motivations and what's built into your biology in that sense. The genes, the epigenes that affect your behavioral genetics, or that create, if you will, manifest your behaviors, which is overlap with the brain. We'll have more talk on this during the stress talk, so don't worry too much about that picture, but it's really cool. And obviously this embryonic piece. So we'll be able to understand what's going to fulfill you, how will you feel in the best control, and how you value the process over the next 12 months. And this is all going to be wrapped up in share. So stop that share. That's what we're here to do today. Now, we've got a team of, I don't know how many coaches, heaps of us, who are going to just support you in this process. Essentially, Nathan, so if you can find Nathan on the screen, I'm going to pin Nathan's video. So Nathan, with an assistant, Eva, is going to take you through the measures of medical. And the first thing we need to do is navigate to where we're going to do that. So if everyone is on desktop, let me give me 2 seconds and I'll give you a link as to where you need to go. Nathan, do you want to just talk through the process of measures of medical for me, mate?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Excuse me. So team, we are going to be taking you through our official onboarding process of the measurements and the medical questionnaire. Obviously, this is just to get a good snapshot of your body and lifestyle at the moment. When Chris gives you this link, it will basically take you to a bit of a login where you can start to fill in all your data. We will take your measurements first, I assume, Chris, and then go through the medical lifestyle questionnaire after that.
Yeah.
So team, if you see down the bottom there, Chris has dropped a link in the chat. If you can click that link and you'll be able to log in with your details.
So for those of you who haven't grabbed a token yet, I can't see everyone's faces, 2 seconds, let me have a look. So everyone on the call, have you managed to find your tokens? Because you'll need them now, yeah? Oh, yeah, we've got those? Oh, wicked, awesome, cool. So it will be obvious where you need those. Sorry, Nath, you carry on, mate. Looks like
that's all right. All good. I was going to say, if you haven't got a token, or if you have got a token, give us a thumbs up. Rightio, so let us kick off, excuse me, and take you through our measurements. So, like Chris has already said, you will need a tape measure. I've just got a little wee soft sewing tape measure here. And we will give you a full rundown of measurements. Right, can everyone just, if you're on video, give me a visual thumbs up, or if you're not, just click the reactions button and give me a thumbs up to say that you are ready to take these measurements. You're all set to go. You've got your tape measure. Awesome. Cindy's ready. Jared's ready. Naomi, thank you. Cool. Laura's good. Aiden is good. All right, team. Okay, let us get underway. So first measurement we're going to start with is the forehead. Let me just make sure that you can see me and Eva. Okay, so our forehead measurement, we're going to take our tape measure and we are just going around the forehead just above the eyebrows and obviously around the back of the head to the widest part of the skull. And we want the tape measure to be tight but not restrictive. So when you've got your measurement, just make a note of it. Obviously input it straight into the dashboard if you can. Also making sure that females' ponytails in the back may differ or make those measurements slightly differently. So by all means, take out your ponytails and make sure they are accurate measurements. Yep, can do a side.
Yeah, could one of the other coaches who's perhaps a bit closer to the camera just do a side as well? Can anyone do that with their tape clip?
So side view.
A little higher at the back there, Ross. There you go, perfect. You look like you're an ABBA then, Renee.
Nice work, team. All right, everyone done their forehead measurements? All right, next measurement we're going to go to is the jaw. Okay, so the jaw, we can just get Eva to turn side on here. Jaw measurement, we're going to go from just in front of the ear. Now, best way to find the top of your jaw is to open and close your mouth. And we're just finding basically where the joint of the jawbone sits in front of the ear here. And we're going to go from here and we're going to follow the line of the jawbone around to the front of the chin. So if you turn front on, so we follow the line of the jaw and we come around to the front of the chin. And we're basically trying to find where the center of the chin is on that tape measure. Making sure, again, the tape measure is reasonably tight, but not restrictive. There will be a slight bit of give in that tape measure as you try and curve around the jaw, but get it as accurately as you can. And again, look out for coaches on camera there. Ross doing a very good close-up. Nice work, Ross. All right, next measurement we're going to go with, and by all means, if we're going through this too fast, tell us to slow down. I know some of you are in pairs and you'll need to do each other. So the next one we're going to go with is your neck. So with our neck.
Trying to catch up. We've got three of us. We're just catching up.
Yep. No worries. No worries.
Absolutely fine.
So perhaps while we do that, can we just show how to do it if you're on your own? Just show us, like, or if we watch a couple of the coaches, guys, for those of you who are on your own, if you look at Ross, or potentially, yeah, Ross, let's go Ross. He's happy to get his chin right into the camera. It is a bit tricky doing it by yourself, but it can be done. So notice he's got a technique of index and thumb, and then he brings it to the middle of the chin, and then pulls it away and looks at the measurement. Cool. So Ross, if you could continue to do a self measure, because we've got a mixture. I might have to unpin Nathan's chat so people can definitely see you. Yeah, for those of you on your own, if you look at Ross, he'll give you the example for a self measure. Go on, Nathan, mate. All
right. Okay. So next measurement around the neck. Now, if you are a male, we obviously want to find the Adam's apple and just sit below that. But essentially, we're going around the widest part of the neck. Females obviously just be aware of your hair. And again, we want the tape measure to be tight but not restrictive. So don't go strangling yourself. And making sure that the tape measure is flat against the neck and we're going around the widest part of the neck. And again, looking to where that tape measure is and input your measurement. Check out Ross if you're doing a self measure. You notice when Ross takes his measurements as well that he's essentially using the tip of his finger or his fingernail to pinpoint or hold on the tape measure where that measurement is going to be exactly.
Those who've joined late, Honor is just messaging you in the chat to give you instructions on where we're at. And Ross, can we get another jaw measurement example, please, mate? Thank you. So those who've joined late, Honor is messaging you in the chat just to catch you up on where we're at. The main thing you need to do is take these measurements. We can always get you to log into the platform at a later date to record them. So just follow along with the measurements for now. Sweet.
All right, how are we all going, team? All up to speed?
Awesome.
Fantastic. Okay, let's go on to our next measurement. As you would have seen Aidan do in the chat, by all means, just throw a message in there if you would like any of the coaches, Ross or Bede or anyone else, to repeat one of the measurements. So next one we're going to go is upper chest. So this one we're going to go arms up, nice and wide. Tape measure is going to wrap around just under the armpits. And we're basically sitting just below the collarbone on this one. Either if you turn and face that way. Good. So side on point of view. What we want to do here is we want to get Eva to take a big deep breath in and then breathe all the way out. And again, tape measure should be tight but not restrictive. Find that measurement and log it in your profile. Make sure that tape measure sits right up under your armpits and gets a good measure across the top of your chest. And again, check out Ross. Bede's also doing a bit of a self measure there. Breathe in. Yeah.
So just for your info, guys, while you're finishing off those measures, the jaw measurement is indicative of human growth hormone, as an example. When you think about those organ dominances, when we measure rib cage, we're looking at lung size. We're looking at what's the relative size of the lungs and the rib cage to the rest of this mass. And that tells us something about this body and its development and its hormone expression in that cascade that started back in utero.
All right, on to our next measurement. We have got the rib cage. So rib cage, we want to find the base of the sternum, and we're going to go around the base of the sternum across the rib cage. Now, excuse me, for females, just an idea of probably where your bra strap sits, and you will probably need to lift up your breasts to get them out of the way. Obviously, we want to measure the rib cage and the circumference around that. So find the base of your sternum. Very much like the chest one, wrap the tape measure around, turn around the side. And again, we want to take a big, deep breath in, breathe all the way out. And again, making sure that tape measure stays tight, not restrictive. Two. 72. And good way to obviously find the base of your sternum is to just literally trace down the sternum till you find where the rib cage comes in and meets, right at the solar plex. All right, let's go into our next one. We will go to our waist next. So around the waist, we want to sit at the base of the rib cage. And best way to find this is just literally find the rib cage and trace them down to where the bottom ribs are on each side. And again, wrap the tape measure around. And again, we go big deep breath in and breathe all the way out. Keeping that tape measure tight, but not restrictive. $63.9.
Hope you're memorising this process, team, because you might be assisting around William Pickering Drive and helping others get up to speed.
All good, Jared.
Sweet,
Thank you, mate.
thanks,
Appreciate you being here. We'll chat soon. All right, team, let's go on to our next one. So next one, we've got around the glutes and the hips. So around glutes and hips, we want to find or go around the widest part of the glutes. And again, making sure tape measure is against the skin or against the clothing, tight against the clothing. Just make sure we are around widest part of the glutes. And then the tape measure is obviously level as well. Nice and easy, this one. Actually, I might go on again because I wasn't really paying attention as to where it was sitting. $92, sorry, 934. How's everyone going there? Are we keeping up? Tanya, going all well? Yep, cool. And for all of those, nice work, Aidan, well done. Yes, I agree there, Honor. Team Angelina. Those who aren't on camera, Joanna, Cindy, Laura, Naomi, you guys all good?
Good.
Cool, awesome, fantastic. All right, so our next ones, we go to our arm now. Now, recommendation for this one is take your least dominant arm. So for Eva, we're going to take her left arm because she's right-handed. So our first one for the arm, we're going to do around the elbow. So we want to make sure that we are around the crease of the elbow, but that we're also crossing the point of the elbow. And so a good way to measure that, or make sure we're doing that, is just bend the elbow a little bit, make sure the tape measure is on right on the point of the elbow, and then we wrap around. We should literally be right on the crease of the elbow. $22.1. Again, make sure that tape measure is flat eagle, tight against the skin, but again, not restrictive. We're not constricting the arm by any means. We want to keep blood flow.
Can I see that one again?
Yep, absolutely, Aidan.
I can't really tell where on her elbow that's going. Oh, okay. Like, is that okay? Right.
So think around the crease or through the crease of the elbow, and then we're making sure on the back of the elbow we are crossing the point of the elbow.
Okay, got it.
And again, just look at Ross and Bede if you need any bit of clarification. All right, next one, let's go to wrist. So keep it on the same hand. This one we want to measure around the wrist. Making sure that we're not sitting over the wrist bone. So we want to go just above the wrist bone. Again, tape measure not tight against the skin, but again, not restrictive. 14.8. 14. Nice work, Ross and Bede. Thank you. Good show there, gentlemen.
What's this measurement called?
This one should be the elbow. Sorry, the wrist.
How about the other one, though? The one part of that?
The one prior to that, the elbow.
Okay, sorry. You were saying it should be above the bone, but then I just saw someone do it behind the bone. Like,
oh, sorry. When I mean, yeah, above the bone. So down here,
okay,
right against Eva's hand would be below the bone. We want to be just above the wrist bone.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, above, below, depending on which way you hold your hand. All right, next one. We can do 2 and 1 in this next one. So we've got hand length and palm length. So when we do our, hold that like that. Let's go there. When we do our hand and palm length, we want to go from the first line on the wrist here at the base of the hand. And we're literally measuring straight along the hand to tip of the longest finger. the middle finger. And if you stay there, you can obviously also take the palm measurement as well, which is to the base of the middle finger.
In fact, you should, guys, make sure you take those two measurements without taking the tape away. That makes sense.
9, 8, 9.3, 16.9. Nice job. All right. On to our next measurements. We are going to go down the legs now, and we're going to mid-thigh. So again, like we did with the elbow or the wrist, the arm before, we want this to be on the non-dominant leg. And so the way we do this is we need to find our mid-thigh placement first. So we're going to measure from the side of the hips. So what we need to do here is basically find our top of our femur bone at the top of the leg here. And we're going to measure from here down to the side of the knee. Yeah. So we want to find basically the bony part of the knee. And what we're doing from here is we're finding halfway between those 2 points. So for example, Eva's measurement here is 39 centimeters. So we want to come up to roughly 19 and a half. So pretty much halfway up that tape measure. And our mid-thigh measurement is going to be taken around this circumference here of the thigh. So we need to make sure that we know where that point is. And then if you just want to put your finger there, yeah. And then from there, we can wrap the tape measure around. And this here will be our mid-thigh measurement. Again, making sure the tape measure is tight against the skin, not restrictive. Actually, sorry, you want to measure that, didn't you? 49. Yes, good point there, Bex. Good point. How do we locate top of the femur? Couple of ways to do it. We can find basically the crease of the hips, and essentially it's kind of in line with where the groin would be. We can also actually rotate the leg out, and we can just feel into the side here. And if Eva rotates her leg in and out, then essentially I can feel that femur bone rotating in its socket. And I can find at the top here, yep, cool, that's the top of her femur bone right there. So by all means, have a wee play around, have a wee feel, get friendly with each other. And again, if we need clarification, by all means, just pop in the chat and one of our coaches will get back to you. And yes, remember to be on the non-dominant leg as well. And if you need clarification on the non-dominant leg, just think about if there was a ball in front of you, which foot would you kick the ball with? Which is your naturally dominant leg? Okay, from our mid-thigh measurement, we're going to go down to our knee now. So for our knee, again, staying on that same non-dominant side, we will go around the crease of the knee. And like with our elbow 1, we want to go make sure that we are crossing the center of the patella. So we find where that patella is. Do you want to rotate around this way? So we find where Eva's patella is. We make sure that our tape measure is going right around that patella, across the patella, and around the back of the knee. A good way to find that patella is literally just grab it, or we can kind of sit above and below, and then we get an idea of where that center point is going to be. Making sure the tape measure is, again, tight, but not restrictive. Yeah. All right, team, let's go on to our next one. We've got 3 to go. So calf for our next one. We're going to come down onto the ground and we're going to look at Eva's calves. So again, staying on that same side, the non-dominant side. Now this one, by all means, take a couple of measurements because we want to find the thickest part of the calf. So we might do one measurement up near the top here, see what that reads, and then we might slide the tape measure down and take another reading. Because of our different health types, calf thickness is going to be different in obviously different places, but we're trying to find the thickest part of the calf. $35.4. Okay, 2 measurements to go. Just sing out if you're not keeping up. Next one, we're doing around the ankle. So we've got Eva's foot here. So around the ankle, we want to make sure that we sit above the ankle bones or the malleoli. And this one, nice and easy one. We just take the tape measure around the ankles. Again, making sure we're sitting above the ankle bone. So Eva's ankle bone is down here. Tape measure is just above it. And then obviously same on the inside as well. 21.6. All right, team, we have one more to do. Now, our last measurement, we want you to be in bare feet if possible. No shoes on. We're measuring the length of your foot. Obviously, having shoes on is going to distort the length of, or the measurement that we get for your feet. All right, so for foot measurement, we're going to go from the back of the heel to the longest toe, or the front of the longest toe. Whoop. Bring that down. All right, actually trying to rotate around. So when we measure, making sure that the tape measure is in alignment with the back of the heel. And obviously we take the tape measure forward and measure off where that big toe or that longest toe is going to be in alignment with the tape measure. I'll show you another good way to do this is up against a wall if you want to ensure that you have an accurate measurement. Come stand over here, go heels against the wall. Actually, we'll go this side. Let's change that up. Okay, so we've got Eva's foot here against the wall, a nice flat wall, and that just ensures that I've got a stable point to go from. And again, I can measure out where that big toe comes to on that tape measure.
We're obviously including the bulb at the back of the foot, or the calcaneus, the heel. So by doing this, we're taking the measure from the back of the heel.
Yeah, exactly. So making sure that we are including this part right around the back of the heel. We're not going from obviously under here where the foot touches the ground. We are going from this part right at the back of the heel. And so if you are doing it from the wall, just make sure that the back of that foot, the back of the heel, is just touching the wall. Obviously, because as Chris said, we want to include that part. We don't want to smush your foot against the wall and take a few millimeters off, because that will have an effect on the obviously measurements and then how your profile turns out. All right, team, officially that is our last measurement. Can we get some thumbs up, messages in the chat? Is everyone up to speed? Are there any questions? Whereabouts are we with those measurements? Cindy's on point. Tanya's there. Love your work, you two.
Awesome. So the next stage of this phenotype test, 16, including height and weight, it should be. Aidan? Yeah, so the next stage of the phenotype test is the medical. So we've got 68 questions. And the way this is going to run, you guys are just going to disappear off and find a computer and go through your medical. So you've added in all your measurements as we've gone, I would imagine. And now you're going to the medical. If you have any questions, you can either reach out on direct message to one of our coaches, or myself or Nathan. And if you're really struggling, or you want to check in on any of the questions and what their exact meaning is, or getting complete clarity on what the question is asking, then we can put you in a one-to-one breakout room, and our coaches will support you and get you through the test. And you can stay in there. There's enough of us here to look after one of you each. So in fact, we could even do that. Let's see how we go. If anyone needs the support, we will break you out into a room. You can just stay with the coach and they'll get you through it in quick time. Sweet. So if everyone just jumps into their medical, does everyone understand how they do that? There's a few quizzical looks, or at least one quizzical look. Angelina, do you guys know what you're doing?
Yeah, we've just got to make sure that everyone can get on, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Because the others' computers aren't on, and the link had come through the chat, so I'll just have to give them the link address.
Yeah, if you can get that, that would be great. I mean, look, if a few of you don't on board, sorry, I don't know your name in the background there on the left of Angela. Debbie. So Debbie,
I only did my other stuff today, sorry. So I'm
no, you're all good. You're all good. So if you can't get your computer sorted and get onboarded in medical, go to the Guardian room, and then Wayne can go to the Diplomat room. And if we find out that was wrong later, then I'll catch you up on your health type at a later date. So cool. Everybody else? Yes, if we go through medical. Yeah, in fact, can we do that? Can we take them through it? How would we do that, Renezel?
We'll just screen share one of our HRAs.
Yeah, cool.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, if you could, mate. Do you want to log into one of the demo accounts from Marshall?
I'll just do mine. That's fine. Happy to do
cool.
that. Give me 2 seconds while I log in.
So some of the questions in this test are going to affect, they're going to affect quite heavily the food. So we need to be accurate here. And they will affect other outputs that you'll get from Shay as well. So we need to be nice and accurate. However, it is dynamic. That is to say that you can go back and change these answers. If you answer something not quite right today, or you're not quite sure, and then you find out at a later date something, some pertinent information, you can go back through the test and change it at a later date. So don't panic too much today, but be as accurate as possible.
Alrighty, team.
So Renee will share her screen.
Let me get really share all my information. That's okay. All good. So team, you'll be at your first questions, which is around your head, and we're just going to look at the your skin. Now, if you've got someone near you who can kind of give you a bit more perspective on what your skin kind of looks like, for this one, you want to make sure that you're just checking where you've got no tan as well. So me is medium light. A lot of people are medium light. Just see, you might feel olive because you tan well, but actually you just want to, you'd be medium light around that. So just go through those and figure out what skin tone you think you have. Then have a really good look at your face, or have someone else have a look at your face. Check if you've got any acne or pimples, any red blotches, any broken capillaries, or wrinkles. Be really honest about that and where you're at. Any moles or flaking skin, or none of the above. Okay, so we'll just do these as we go through. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Your hair color, so what hair color you are without all the coloring in it, without the grey, so what your natural hair color is or would have been. And then you want to have a bit of an assessment of grey hair and how much of that you might have. So, and again, without any color or anything, what kind of, how much grey hair you think you might have. Again, if there's someone close by, you might be in denial a bit about how much there might be. So get someone else's opinion on that one. Here with the hair, guys, so if you at all have any kind of, you might think you've got straight hair, but if you've got any kind of wave in your hair when it's washed and just left to dry, then you want to put loosely curly hair. You might have very tight curly hair or coily, and then but if it's straight hair, it's straight all the time. Check if it's brittle, if you've got dry hair, or whether it's oily, whether you've got any dandruff, or whether it's thick or fine. And some of these things can change, like dandruff and oily hair. And this is where we get dynamic with the measurements. And if it changes, then we change the results that we're getting in here, and Shay will update everything it needs. Let me get the chat going too. Okay, cool. So your hairlines, what you want to do here, guys, is pull your hair back and see what kind of hairline you have here. So for me, I've got a widow's peak. Oh, what do I do? No, actually I've got normal. So you might have a widow's peak, so you might have a bit of a bit going back on either side. See how high your brow might be, or whether it's sort of normal. For this question, is your hair falling out? Just make sure that you would know if it was falling out. You'd get clumps of hair when you're washing it, or even not. It would be unusually excessive hair loss for this one, normally around stress. And for this, do you grow facial hair? So ladies, it's, just be honest about where that might be growing. Any kind of fluff as well. And for men, it might be all over, and just when we get down here, showing where that might be for you. And maybe it's all over. All right, so the color of your eyes is what we want to look at next. So probably all know what that might be. Maybe it's a little bit of a mixture. Just go with whatever dominant eye color you have. Some people's eyes change sometimes, but just go with that dominant color. Then you just want to run through these medical conditions and bits and pieces around your eyes. Again, if you've got someone next to you, get them to check for you. You might have puffiness around the eyes, small bags. We might have some big bags under your eyes at the moment. And again, if this might change for you, so we need to change it in the HRA to keep up to date with it all. How are we tracking, team? We're keeping up? Maybe yours gone right ahead of me. All right, getting into a bit more here. Any swelling of the neck have you ever had, or frequent laryngitis? Any thyroid issues you want to look at here and mark what they might be for you. And then we're going to look at the mouth. So if you have dry lips, so this is at the moment. If you have dry lips, not whether you had them a week ago or whether you have them in summer, right now, are your lips dry? Are they cracked in the middle? Do they have, or do you get cracked corners or any frequent cold sores? How many cavities you might have had in the last couple of years, and just really check out your gums, and if you've got any swelling, any pink, any white bits or bleeding, and if they often bleed during brushing them as well. All right, now we want to check your ears. So what we're looking for here, there's a couple of things. We're looking for frank sign, which is a crease in your ears. So get someone to have a wee look for you to see if you've got that crease happening with your ears there, or or whether your earlobe is attached to the head. Okay, so you won't have a bit of, oh, what do you got there, Ross? You're loosely up a bit more attached, but not fully attached, right? So it would go in a straight line. You would have seen that before on people. Okay, so checking out your nails. Get real here with your nails, guys. You can see here I've got a few things going on. So any striations, so the lines on your nails, and we know that's around some dehydration and mineral deficiencies sometimes for the white spots. Any brittle ends, any nail fungus, or missing lanula, which is the little white bits at the base of your nails. Have a good look at those. And then we want to check out which finger is going to be longest for our ring and index finger. So pop your hand straight up like this. Don't be like this or this. You just want to go boom. All right, put your hand straight up, and then you can see whether your ring finger is longer than your index finger, or your index finger is longer than your ring finger, or a bit of both. I've got one on each side. So then you want to pop that in. See where you're at with those. Okay, between the ages of 7 and 11, were you very, very lean and lanky? Have a think about back then. And did you have very crooked teeth? So you might have had braces between now and then. So yeah, if you have had braces, then you definitely want to put in that you've had very crooked teeth. Anything abnormal or misshapen then. All right. And if you've ever had any spinal issues, spinal operation, hernia or prolapse, or inherited spinal deformation, we want to put those things in there. Any emphysema, chronic bronchitis, or asthma you want to put in here. So this is if ever in your lifetime. Then we want to go down and check out your legs, whether you've got varicose veins, broken capillaries, or any, or if you've had phlebitis. You want to check your knees. If you've got someone, if you're with people, stand up, get them to have a look at your knees, whether you've got some knock knees going on, or bow legs as it says there, or any hyperextension, so that your knees might be hyperextending at the back. If anybody's not sure about them and would like to jump into a breakout room with somebody just to check, or you just want to jump on your video and let us check, we can do that too. For those ones, probably no for yourself. Have you ever had a knee operation? Do you often get muscle cramps in your calf muscles? So you want to let us know if you're getting any of those. All right, moving on to our feet. So stand up and just have a feel. You want to check first if you've got any bunions. If you've got flat arches, just check whether your weight distributes on the inside of your feet, or whether you sit more on the outside of your feet. Check if you, or let us know if you've had any frequent pain or cramps in your feet. And if you've got nail fungus or cracked heels, it's really important for us to know those things as well. We'll get you some good nutrients to help out with those and some tips. Right, so for women, I mean, you'll have slightly different questions around this one, so just work through those. Women, where are you sitting at for periods and things? If you've got any questions about this, guys, you can chuck them in the chat, or DM one of our coaches. If you ever had any children, currently using any hormonal birth control or hormone replacement medication. So just answer those questions as we go through. Have you ever been diagnosed with cancer? If so, it will ask the type of cancer that you've had. So if you can pop that into the HRA for us. If you've ever had any epilepsy, brain or central nervous system disease, sleep disturbances due to an overactive mind. So this is currently too, guys. So think about how you're feeling at the moment. A sluggish mind, difficulty concentrating, memory loss or poor memory. And over the last 10 years, have you ever had any autoimmune diseases like thyroiditis or arthritis, osteoporosis? Any hypoglycemia, diabetes, Meniere's disease, gallstones, kidney stones, ascites, hepatitis, hemochromatosis, or diverticulitis. So putting in any of those. And then you'll also be asked, and more specifically for men as well, around any issues that you're having down there or have had. So you want to be, let us know about those things as well. Within the last 2 months, so this is more recently, have you ever had, or are you having, or having in the last 2 months, any acid reflux, flatulence or bloating, gastritis, hypertension, high cholesterol, colitis, intestinal inflammation or hemorrhoids? When under stress, have a think about, do you lose weight, gain weight, stay the same, or if you're not sure, then that's fine too. Here we just got an option for you to put any other medical conditions that you think that might be relevant for PH360 to know about. So if you can just add those there and choose from some of the ones we have here, what sort of intensity that feels like for you, and any diagnosis date, and if it's cured in there too. It's really handy for us. When we're putting in any prescription or over-the-counter medication and supplements, know that it's not going to affect the outputs in SHEA. That particular part is just data collection for us, but it won't affect your outputs. If there is something that we need to look at further and check with any of our other medical professionals about them, then we will do so around those other medications and things. So moving on. Family history. So you want to think back or ask or find out whether grandparents or parents have suffered from diabetes, any carcinomas or significant tumors, any cardiovascular problems or heart attacks and strokes and things like that, any arthritis or debilitating joint illnesses, any circulatory problems, so like those varicose veins and phlebitis, any parents or grandparents suffered from osteopenia or osteoporosis. And then here we want to get the ancestry of your and heritage of your parents, so your mother and your father, just as close as you can to those things. Okay, I'm working through. Okay, we're going to look at lifestyle now. So looking at these things, what sort of goals you're looking for in using PH360. So either lose weight, gain muscle mass, or if you're thinking about you want to do both those things, then we talk about that as toning your body. Maybe you're happy to maintain your shape and size and you're just working on energy, that's fine too. We've got an option for you to put any injuries here so that Shay can make sure we provide the right exercise for you. At the moment, what type of exercise or how much exercise you're getting at the moment. So again, being honest about how much time we're actually spending sitting and how much we are moving and stuff as well. All right, so employed, everyone's obviously employed here. how many hours a week we're working, and then what type of environment you're working in at the moment. So you're in the office, or maybe you're doing a lot more work from home. And so we'll pop that in there too. Are you often exposed to chemical inhalants such as cleaning or hygienic products or disinfectants? So make sure you're popping that in there as well. It's all affecting our environment. Cool. All right. So how frequently do you fly in a given year? We probably need to change that, hey? And how frequently do you travel by long haul bus or train? Might be something that you do. And how often do you drive more than 20 miles or 30 kilometers in a single trip in any given week? Think also about, this also might be like if you spend more than 30 minutes in the car. So that's about how, like time in the car and the vibrations that are happening during that time. So have a think about that, pop that in there. And this one, you might need to just scroll up a little bit for this one if you're wanting to put in any food allergies. So if, for example, you were allergic to all dairy, then you could put that in here and choose which ones you might be allergic to that you know. It is a really interesting, if it's something that's by choice, for example, if you are vegetarian or vegan, it is a really interesting thing to do to actually go through this process and see what Shay recommends for you. For example, it might recommend red meat quite often for you, and it'll tell you why. And then you can actually make some choices around whether you want to incorporate that in your life to be healthier, or whether you're happy to stick with your decisions around that. And then you can come back and put in your food allergies or your preferences not to eat in there as well. Do you smoke? If you do, then how often? How often do you eat dairy in a given week? How often do you eat cold cuts or prepackaged meats, so deli meats, sausages, burgers, bacon, anything that's got nitrates in it? How often do you eat red meat? How many vegetables? So this is how many cups of vegetables that you eat a day. And how often do you eat wheat products? So things like crackers, breads, pastas, baking, anything with flour. How often are you eating those? How much water do you consume in a day? Watch everyone take a sip of their drink right now. And how much alcohol do you drink in a week? So based on a portion size. How much coffee are you having in a given any average day? And that's not true too. Let's update that. How many soft drinks do you consume in a week? And it'll ask whether you're having diet or not, if you are drinking some. When I follow a diet, do you find it easy to lose weight, hard to lose weight? I've never followed a diet. So choose those options for yourself. Let's see. Cool. And what country did you spend most of your time growing up? And in the last 3 months, how much? Where have you spent most of your time living? So the address finder will find where you are too, so it's quite accurate and where you're at. And then we're going to get your results. Exciting. Very exciting. I just want to pop, guys, I'll just show you, because we might be rushing through this for you guys. I just want to show you if you want to go back and check in or change those measures or answers in the health risk assessment where you do that. So just make sure you go up to here, health risk assessment. Now, if you're wanting to complete a full new measure, then we go to the top one. But if you're just wanting to change something quickly, then or finish this one, so if you want to park it right now, then you can just go back into this one, and that will it will keep everything else saved. If you go into the first one, then you need to re-enter all of your information of the measures, but not of the HRA. All right. Whew, who got through that?
What a job, what a pace.
I've only done about 400 of them.
Thorough and fast. No, good stuff. Excellent. Thanks, Renee.
No trouble.
Yeah, so those who are who are following along, or perhaps had theirs set up, maybe. Those on the call who already had their medical done. There may have been a few of you. Now we need to establish your health type. So what we're going to do for the rest of the call is we're just going to focus on the profile. We're just going to look at how to use Shay effectively, and our coach, Bex, is going to talk you guys through that. So she's going to show you how to navigate Shay, where to get the best information for your health type and what that might be. And we're going to just talk about what the profile's telling you in a bit more detail. We won't have time today to cover your health types, but it's not a worry. We have resources to send to you after the call or later on this afternoon that will outlay what it means to be whatever health type we find that you are. But Bex will talk you through how to find out in a moment. And then we'll do a good platform show round. Are you ready for that, Bex? Good. Awesome team. How is everyone? Is everyone, if I could get in the chat from Cindy, Laura, Aidan, Stephanie, Glorianne, and Joanna, who aren't on camera, if I could get an indication on, are you ready to continue? Aidan's good. Cindy's good. Glorianne's good. Laura's good. Exciting. Thanks, Stephanie. Brilliant. And how are you going, Angelina?
A little stressed around trying to get this done, but no.
No worries.
Good.
It was quite fast.
Yeah. All right, though. The other two have broken off a wee bit. Wayne's working through his at the moment. It's going to pop back. So I might go and get him if you're going to carry on.
How long do you think you needed, Angelina? Any ideas?
I'm up to my ears.
Up to your ears. How about that? Ears. Oh, it's quite a little way, I think, isn't it? I'll tell you what we'll do then, Angelina. Shall we break you out into another room? And then the coach will take you through to the end. And then they can talk to you about your profile after. And I'll give you plenty of time for that to be the case. Cool. I'm just going to sort that out now. If everybody else is with us, then Bex will continue into platform show round.
I'm a wee bit behind too.
Who's that? Sorry.
Hey.
Oh, Tanya. Cool.
Yeah.
Should we put you in a room?
There.
Okay, let's put you in a room together.
Up to my legs.
Up to your legs. Good. Angelina. Yes. So let's assign you guys. You can crack on, Bex.
Right. Cracking on.
Kate.
You're good, Chris?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right, so I'm going to share my screen now. And this one. So everyone should be seeing my PH360 dashboard now. Renee, can you give me a thumbs up if it's okay? Awesome. Okay, so just going to show you through a few bits on this. This is the desktop version, and I'll also show you a little bit of the mobile version as well, because there's a couple of differences between them. First place that I'm going to show you is how to find your health type. So once you've finalized your assessment, you will probably have to jump through a few more pages of going, yes, I want to get through to this thing at the end of the assessment. Yes, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. Please just tell me my health type. Once you've got through all those pages, you'll see this dashboard that you're seeing here. And if you click on your letter, you will see your health type up in the corner, and I am a diplomat health type. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you. And I'll also show you that on the mobile app in a minute. Next bit to show you is just a couple of sections. So we've got our lifestyle section at the top, and then we can click on mind. You can also go through the buttons on the front page. And in here, you've got a series of statements about your brain and how it works and how you think. And you may be scrolling through these and see something that jumps out at you and really resonates with you, and you think, oh my gosh, that's me, from just putting in my measurements and telling you all those bits in the health risk assessment. So if there's anyone that's got a statement that as they scroll down, they see really sounds like you, love to see it in the chat box and to see what you're resonating with at the moment. And then the next place I'm going to show you, I'll just give you a second to have a look. So if anyone's got anything, feel free to stick it into the chat box for us. The next place we'll have a look at is your food list. Now, everybody always wants to know about their food and what they can and can't eat. So you go to food and food list. It's also sitting up the top here in this menu here. And what you're going to get is a really comprehensive list of foods. So all your different fruits, all your different vegetables, your meats, your grains, they all come into this list. And the first list you're going to see is everything from your best food all the way down a long, long way until you get to the foods that you really shouldn't be eating. And so we've got these separated with a rating, which you can see here. And that rates from excellent down to avoid. And the reasons that all the foods are different is because you might need a particular mineral or vitamin at the moment, or the food would have a particular effect on your body. So if I click into leeks, for instance, you can see that there's a whole section here saying, why is this recommended for me? So we've got things like antimicrobial benefits, we've got antioxidant effects, good for the immune system, it's good for speeding up my metabolism. Chris, is there anything else you wanted to jump in and say about particular foods at this point?
Yeah, have you talked about how these recommendations, the specificity of it, and how they're all referenced as well, Bex? Did you mention that at all?
In terms of,
so in the food list, obviously we see that leeks have been highly recommended. No worries, Glorianne, thank you. If you look at the statements to the right of the food, it will talk you through exactly what perhaps micronutrients you need right now, and that can relate to some of what we call the semiotics that we established during the medical questionnaire. So certain disease within the body will be countered by good nutrient intake, and the food list is personalized in many ways, but one of the ways is to make sure that we respond to the disease in your body and make sure we provide your body with the nutrients necessary. To understand that, for those of you who love information, you can also look at the references that are driving that choice. That is to say that Shay is saying to you right now, your phenotype is expressing thus. Therefore, you should eat this food because it offers this nutrition. And here are the references as to why that is the case. Cool.
As you go into each food, it will tell you how often you can eat it. It's really excellent, or maybe you shouldn't be eating it so much. You can also click on a little button here to say it's your favorite food, and that will populate another list. But what we're going to do is send you some more resources and videos around this so you can get an insight into your food list. If I go back to the main food list, there's a couple of things just to point out that you can filter by your food types. So I don't think just because it's not come out right at the top of your list that all you're allowed to eat is oranges and leeks and papaya and whatever is in your list. You can actually tell it that you want to see what kind of nuts you want to eat. So I've got some which are good and some of them which are okay, some are sometimes. And if I get filtered in a different way, you'd be able to see ones that says that I should be avoiding. So what we want to be looking at right at the moment is trying to eat most of our foods from the green foods. So our greats, good, excellent foods. They're the best foods for you at the moment. But if you want to, you can add in these okays, and sometimes for a bit of variety. We don't want it to be boring. We want it to be exciting and interesting and tasty and flavorful. So remember to take a good range of your foods, but predominantly from those green foods. They are the ones that are going to help you to be in the best form you can be at the moment. And yes, we are heading into the Christmas period, and we know that a lot of those foods that we get at Christmas are the sugary ones, your Christmas cakes and all those things. They're probably going to be on your avoid list. So we just say moderation is the best thing we can do at the moment. You know, we don't want to spoil Christmas for you. We know what it's like ourselves. We all have our blips over Christmas. So if you can stick to the good foods for part of the week and then just have those moderated other foods, that'd be awesome. Now, next place to show you is, I'll go back to my dashboard, tracking your results. Now, this is only available on the desktop app. So this is where you would come to have a look at your measurements. And as you can see, this is when I started PH 360. My weight was up here at 80 kilos. And this is where it is right now. It's not a straight line going down. It does go a bit up and down, especially around January, December, Christmas. But what we want you to focus on is this one here, the Healthy Habit Index, because that tells us what changes you're making. And that's what we're really, really wanting to emphasize to you at the moment, is we're looking for healthy habit changes, not necessarily what the scale's doing with your weight, because sometimes it takes a little bit longer to see those changes. If you focus on getting these healthy habits up in the green, that's what we want to see. And we can actually have a look over time. So you can see my weight's going down. My healthy habits are going up. Most of the time going up. So yeah, focusing on this area as we go forward. So I'll just pop here on the desktop app and show you again where your health type is up here, because you're going to need that for when we talk to you about your specific health type things. And then I'm just going to show you another screen. I'll just stop that one and share my mobile screen. So this is what it looks like when you're on your phone. So you can click into the different areas. Food, go in there. Don't worry about the clocks right now. We can tell you about that later. And go to your food list. And again, you can search for your foods in here. And easy when you're searching, just search for something that's a bit more generic. So if I'm looking for berries, I'll just search for the word berry, and you've got a bigger chance of actually finding what you want. Sometimes the spelling or the weights put in is a bit different. And if you're looking for your health type in your mobile app, it's just on those 3 lines there, and you can get in here. Okay, I think that's everything.
Awesome, thanks, Bex. Good. Excellent. So for those of you left on the call, we just want to make sure that everyone knows there. Did you show around where the health type is, Bex? Did we do that?
Yes, I did.
Did you? Cool. So we just want to make sure that everyone is really clear on their health type, because that's going to be the most important thing from today, and how to use their app. You guys, I know you're not on camera. If you could drop in the chat, just let us know. Are you feeling like you can fly the app with confidence? Hope so. Yeah, easy enough, Joanna? Yeah.
Yep, it's definitely easier on when you look on your on a big computer rather than on your phone.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and absolutely, like both work different for different people. Like some of us would prefer using the desktop. I tend to use the desktop more than my phone, if I'm honest. So yeah, that's absolutely great. Like they're both there, and they have slightly different functionality, and there's a little bit of interaction between the two in terms of settings. So yeah, it's good to get familiar with both, to be honest. Going to spend some more time tonight to do my measurements and questionnaire properly, but I know what I'm doing from the call. Yeah, brilliant. Sounds good, Laura. Well, you know where we are via email if you need us. Obviously, coaches will be in contact with you in the coming days. So if you need a bit more assistance, that'll be forthcoming too. Anybody else? So you obviously need to complete, Laura. Has anyone else completed? Aidan, have you managed to complete assessment and establish health type?
And it is.
Have we got a crusader? Yeah. Yeah, we do. We do. Yeah, love it. Yeah, I knew that already, Aidan, based on the questions in the keynotes. Cool. And who else have we got? Stephanie. Stephanie, have you managed to complete? It's pretty intimate in here, guys. There's nowhere to hide. If not, there's plenty of time. No, not yet. Okay, cool. Stephanie, how close did you get? Would you, as a percentage, any ideas? And do you need more assistance, or do you feel like you've got it handled? You just need more time. Maybe. How did you go, Kate, in your breakout?
Yeah, good. I can't see that they've come back in though. Are they?
I'm here.
Oh no!
Yeah, there's Tanya,
yes, that's cool.
and there's Angelina. Yeah.
Yeah. So Debbie's still she's just at the beginning of inputting her data, so she'll be a little way away yet. But I think Tanya and Angelina have finished. They just need to wait to find out their type.
Oh, good stuff. Well, let's make sure you've got that. Yeah, we're pretty much done. So if anyone has things to get onto, and we've got 4 minutes to spare, so you don't need to rush off. But if there are those of you who need to get on with work, please feel free. But for those of you who are still finding out health type, hang on and we'll just make sure we've got that established. Obviously, Kate, I guess you haven't had a chance to show around platform either.
No.
Okay, cool.
But
well,
we can do that after if they've got time. I can help them through that.
Yep. If the ladies have time, we can definitely sort that out. No, thank you, Aidan. Thanks for coming. Spread the word, please, for us, Aidan. And if those of you who are now measured, it'd be great if you could encourage others to make sure that they get onboarded this week. It's absolutely key. We've got a bit of time before we do stress. We are going to be talking stress in 2 weeks' time on the next session. But yeah, we need you guys out there crusading, supporting, initiating people, depending on your health type, and making sure that they get onboarded and they come to the next session. You guys are going to become our champions by proxy, by default. Good stuff. Cool. So just let us know, Angelina and Tanya, how you're going and when you've worked out your health type, or if you need help with that.
It said to me, Shay is ready for you.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. And where do I find my health type? Where does it put it?
In the top corner of the screen where there's a little capital letter of your name and a little blue circle.
Ah, yes, there it is.
Just click on that and you'll get a few options. But it should display the health type.
Got it.
Got it. Cool. We're all sat in suspense. You can share if you'd like to, but of course, it's your information, so you do with it what you will, Angelina.
I'm a diplomat.
Yeah, you are.
It's like AA. My name's Angelina. I'm a diplomat.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Awesome, Angelina. Cool. Yeah, we'll chuck you guys in a breakout room again in a second, so that Kate can just walk you through the platform. Is that good with you, Kate? Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
No worries, Nath. No problem.
Good to see you all today, team.
Mm.
We will chat again soon.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, no, coaches who need to go, obviously, please do. Don't forget, you've got to hang around. If you want to take 5, just keep an eye on your chat, and I'll do another Zoom link for a debrief.
Sweet.
Cool. See you soon, team.
I'll put you guys in a breakout, Kate, in 2 seconds.
Yeah, how much of that shade did you want to go over?
Just navigate just navigating the food list.
Yeah.
Any of the nigglies on settings, and talk to priorities.
Yeah, cool.
Other than that, don't worry too much. There's a few other things, but we'll get them now in the weeks to come.
Tanya, do you want to would you want to connect Tanya back into that room too? Do you want to stay in? Have you got time, Tanya?
Yeah, I can.
Come back in. Just so we can go over that. Cool.
Cool. Thank you.
Should come up now. Oh. I'm going to close the breakout. Why has it done that?